I already talked to one. There's everyone signed up. This guy right here. And we have a sign-up sheet on the table. Anybody wants to speak to any of the bills we have on the agenda today? So come up and sign up if you would like to speak to one of the bills. Put your name, who you're with, and if you're for or against. Thank you. Clint, is that your family with you? Is that a page? And wow, House or Senate? Well, it is 8 o'clock. We've got 4 bills on the agenda, and rule starts at 8. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask Chairman Prince if he'll open in prayer for us.
Thank you. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to do the business of this great state of Georgia. Father, everything we do be pleasing unto you. Keep your hedge of protection around us, guide us, and strengthen us. In your Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Thank you for that. And it's good to have Clint with us this morning with his family. So thank y'all for being here, and we'll try to get you to page in the House sometime. So, but anyway, we got the first bill we're going to do this morning, House Bill 651. Chairman Powell, do you want to do the podium or the table? Where do you want to?
I'll stand right here because I'm afraid I might not get up.
All right.
Good morning, and I think we're working from LC 4692.
That's what we have in the packet.
That's great. I've had so many versions of this, I don't know which one's which. I want to preface a few of the remarks on this to start with. Back, and I want everybody to remember this because some of y'all were on the committee at that time, back 7 years or so ago when we passed the original speed zone camera bill, school zone camera bill, this was done as a matter of public safety for schools. And I don't like to remind folks after what it became after a period of time that I actually handled the bill at that time. It was done for school safety, but it's something that got out of hand. There's so many things that are done, a lot of the criteria changed over the years, and it became a tool in a lot of people's mind for local law enforcement to raise money. And they did raise money. There's a lot of parts to this bill that, and I think inherently we're all guilty that speeding is something that we probably all do, except for maybe Dewey. I'm not sure if he speeds or not, but we all speed, and it's almost like a game. We're all in a hurry to get somewhere. We don't pay attention to the laws, the speeding laws and such. And then we've got something that Georgia is unique for, and that's that we have always had a 10-mile variance. Law enforcement, normally they don't, it's always been known that local law can't use a radar. They've got to give a 10-mile variance. Even the state patrol who can ticket you on radar at the exact miles, they don't even do it, because they understand the place we live in. And I would tell you that a lot of that's got to do with our traveling habits and maybe the advances in better automobiles and stuff like that. But if you're on the interstate, if you're not motoring on down that road at least the 10 over the speed limit, and plus, you're going to get run over. And I think all this is inherent to this. I want to give fair credit to Representative Washburn. He brought out a bill to ban these cameras. And I think that's, not exactly the answer. I think we could clean it up, and that's what we're attempting to do in this bill. One of the things that law enforcement has done, they've used this in a lot of jurisdictions as a revenue generator. There wasn't a 10-mile variance in the school zone cameras, and we've attempted to do that. A lot of the times have been moved. We've heard all the stories. The cameras have been, local laws let the cameras run around the clock and all through the day and all such things that, but the intent of that legislation is in this bill here today in front of you. If you'll look on section 2, on section 1, I had asked council, but we think that that's just the definition of DOT, and I think Jenna had came up with a master state order for DOT to decide what is a school zone. Section 2, if you'll look on that page, is a description. But on line 35, we're saying that the signs and devices that are provided, that they'll have a flashing sign with actual accurate depiction of the speed in which the vehicle's running. We know all about these. We see them from place to place. It's a warning device to tell you that if you're coming into a 35-mile-an-hour zone, and if you're running 45, it actually, visibility gets your attention. So we're requiring that they will put these flashing signs that depicts the speed limit that your vehicle's running. If you'll look on section 3, this is a section that we're putting that 10-mile variance into it. 25 miles an hour means 35. Quite frankly, a lot of folks I used to be able to walk 25 faster than the 25-mile-an-hour zones. Can't do it today with artificial knees, but we're moving that to put the 10-mile variance. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you there was a flaw that we had in a couple other cases, historical districts and such. Then we have now made the state uniform in our traffic laws about the speed, that there's a 10-mile variance across the board. And you'll see that in section 4. Also on line 72, 73, this clearly defines that it's 1 hour before and 1 hour after school starts in the morning, 1 hour before and 1 hour after in the afternoon. So it clearly says that it's a 4-hour gap during the day. Further down, if you look under subsect M, you will see the funding mechanism. And the funding mechanism in this bill, originally it was the first 30 days was a pass for folks to get them used to it, which has long since been gone. First offense is $75, second offense is $125. We did away with the $25 surcharge that was on there for admin cost that the cities and all they could use. So the max fine is $125, and that money is now going to be split. Instead of the whole amount or the bulk of that money going to the local jurisdictions. And I would tell you, I think there's been a lot of demonization of the companies that were under contract with the locals. They made money for their services, which is the American way. But the bulk of that money was going to the cities and the counties that were running these. And we've all heard the stories. We've heard jurisdictions that's raised $500,000 that went into their city coffers or the police department coffers or whatever they wanted to use it for. Representative Washburn, which I don't blame his irate position on this, was down in Macon that raised $6.5 million is what he has said down in Macon. And these are things that's triggered this. But if you look in here, what we're doing is half of that money now, it'll be required on the local governments that they distribute that to the local schools in the form of school safety grants. So instead of all the bulk of that money going to the cities and to the PD departments and such, half that money will be designated for the schools in that county jurisdiction. Let me look further, see if there's anything else in here. And that's the bulk of the bill, ladies and gentlemen. This is a second option. I understand the other bill may be up also, so here's your second option to try to send it over to the Senate to see what's their will. They've got I've seen a version of the Senate bill over there, and it's typical, in my opinion, of the Senate. There's not much to it. So we're giving them a second bite to look at something that's a whole lot more rational and a whole lot more workable. And with that, I'll be glad to stand for questions.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Chairman. We do have 4 questions right now. Number 24, Representative Monty.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for bringing this bill. You know, I think over the last few weeks we've been hearing a lot about this issue, and I knew that there was going to be a very common sense measure that would come forward, and I found that common sense measure with your bill. So I want to thank you for bringing that and applaud you for your hard work. I did also want to say, you know, I appreciate the fact that in your bill you memorialized this 10 mile per hour. As someone who emphasizes driver safety and laws in our state, even at 10 over, that is a no points violation in our state. And so, you know, the fact that you're memorializing that here is means that you've taken the time to look through the details. You've worked hard on it, and I can tell that this is a very comprehensive and good bill for Georgia. And with that, Mr. Chairman, at the proper time, I'd like to make a motion to pass.
Thank you for that question and for those flowery comments. You know, this isn't something I ever thought I'd revisit again. And at the request of the Speaker's office. So a lot of the credit goes to the Speaker's office. In my typical fashion, when I was asked to do this, I had told them I will find a solution. And they have backed me up all the way to the end. I will tell you the only thing that we had a policy disagreement on, and that was where the money went. It was my personal feelings that all that money should have been remitted to the state treasury and that we would have allocated it out across the state. But they decided, and this was also a second option that I had originally, that let the locals do it. I would think that, you know, there are a lot of counties, and I will tell you, to the best of my knowledge, there's not a camera speed, school cameras in my district in 3 counties. But I can tell you that you can go a spitting distance out of my district up toward Tallulah Gorge, and there's one right there on the highway. And buddy, don't believe they won't tag you, and they do it. And that's nothing but a greasy spot in the road. So, you know, this was the speaker's office decision, and I have no problem with that because, as y'all know, most of y'all who's been around know that Leg Council has always said that there's a constitutional question about earmarking. Well, my idea is that if it went to the general funds, then we could have appropriated it out likely, but this is probably a better way of doing it so that the locals can keep that money that's raised in their districts.
All right, thanks for that question. Number 26, Chairman Ridley.
Thank you. I think the flowery comments was really meant for the Speaker's office there, Mr. Chairman.
And I take it as such.
Is it still the same way as it was where the police department has to request through the school board and the school board has to approve to have one of these put up?
No, sir.
So it's just open market now?
If they decide that they have a school zone that needs these cameras, then they can put it in.
The police department can?
Yes.
have a problem with that part.
All right, number 17, Representative Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I see on line 72 where you still are including like an hour prior, hour after. Since I know that a lot of the citizens were complaining about receiving tickets after school, is it a reason for that 1 hour?
That was the original intent several years ago. Somewhere along the way, it either got changed or misinterpreted. And this basically, and we put it that way, we didn't set the time. We just gave it the 2 hour morning, 2 hour afternoon, because some schools may go in at 8 o'clock, some may go in at 8:30. Some may go in, I understand some have classes that start from 7:30 to up to 9 o'clock. So that 2 hour gap, they can span the.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions? Number 2, Chairman Prince.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Powell, for this bill. Just wanted to get some clarification on, I understand the different things that need to be up, the lights and stuff like that. Is this money that's going towards school safety? Is
Yes.
that how they're going to use to help pay for those funds?
Let's see. If you'll look on line
89,
86 to 94, you'll see a list of things on school safety. Spells out school safety purposes, meaning activities incident to the establishment, procurement, or maintenance of safety measures within the public, private, elementary, secondary schools to enhance and ensure the protection of students, staff, visitors, and such a school, including but not limited to access control systems, communication systems, cybersecurity systems, perimeter security systems, surveillance systems, visitor management systems, employment of crossing guards, and safety protocol training.
Okay,
Well,
yeah.
covers the gamut of it.
Okay, and my real focus, and I appreciate all that, was the camera, well, not so much the cameras, but the warning lights to telling you you're coming into a school zone and coming out of a school zone. Are we going to
Coming
give them
into
some
the school
time
zone.
to
Coming
get
into
that
the school
equipment?
zone.
Right. Well, you either come in and come out.
Right.
Usually on the other side, they're coming in. Okay. But
And we're giving
are we
the
giving them
latitude.
enough time to purchase all this equipment? That way,
Well-
because I think, is it the school systems that's purchasing this, or is it law enforcement?
Well, this will be up to the local law enforcement how they wish to bid this out. Right now, I understand there's 4 companies that actually provide these cameras and all. I think some of them have a per citation fee. One of the companies does what's called a subscription for the whole thing.
Yeah, and my main thing was just, is it on the school system to provide these warning?
No.
Or it's, okay, the
No,
local
this will be
government.
up-
Thank you.
This will be on to the local
Local
law
gov-
enforcement agency to
Gotcha.
decide when they're bidding this out. There's a lot of parts that can be bidded out in this process. The cameras, if they have a company that they're negotiating with, the city can put them up, or the camera company can put them up. The same way that right now, who sends out the notification, since this is a civil penalty. Some of them have the camera companies do it. This will allow if they want to do it. It leaves it up to the local governments to negotiate, quite frankly.
All right. Number 29, Representative Mathis.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. We had plenty enough time to make sure that we've covered all the issues that we have with the bill before. I get a lot of folks that they have no recourse to oppose the fine. I've heard testimony where cars they weren't able to sell them because they had a previous violation. I'm just curious to see, even if I loan my car to someone, or I'm not the one driving it, but it's in my name, that's who's ticketed. So What kind of avenue do I have to defend whatever I do in that school zone, even if it's in the proper time, proper speed, or I go over? Can you explain that to me a little bit?
Under the current code, due process, something that is very precious to us, and it should be, and that's due process of law. And these are civil citations. The current law, as it was passed years ago, allowed you to contest if you think that you did not, or the law wasn't correct about the time that you were cited. So you can go to your local municipal court or whoever. If it's a county, I guess it'd be probate court, I'm not sure. But you can protest these. Take your evidence and protest. If you weren't driving the vehicle, then you can put it out there that you weren't driving the vehicle. The bigger problem that I see in this is that people live too busy a life today. I don't know that a lot of people have actually protested these. I hear the stories around the state from folks who said, well, I got one of these and I protested, and that was the end of it. So, if you show that you weren't, it wasn't your vehicle or it was the wrong times, and I'm not sure that people actually knew what was the right time. We've heard all the rhetoric from folks that they got a ticket in the middle of the night. I've heard one of the people, somebody told me that there was a tow truck hauling their car,
Seen the picture
and
of
it
that.
flashed it on the tag, and they got a citation. But once they go through due process, I would encourage anybody, as I always do, if you're not guilty of something, don't accept it. Don't just pay the fine. Protest it.
Yeah, I know when can I have a follow-up?
Yeah, we've got some that's going to have to get the rules here pretty quick, so we need to
Okay,
just
quickly,
be concise with
you get these
our
things and you don't realize it's a ticket. I thought it was a donation to somebody, and then as it turned out, it was a donation. But here's what's bothering me. We had a bill to stop this nonsense, okay? Then all of a sudden we have another bill to try to limit the nonsense. It's a shame that we have to do those type things to get people to come to the table to get 102 plus signed signatures on a bill. And then I want to make sure that we got this thing fixed this time, because this 2 or 3 years we've been hearing about these things. And the thing of it is, I can name you 2 bills right now that's biting us in the backside right now that we didn't vet good enough. So here we are with another bill. And I'm not saying anything about what you're doing, and I agree with you about the general fund thing, but I just want to make sure we've covered all the bases here, and it's a shame that we have to do this to get people to come to the table.
And I would make a comment. You talked about the lien where they couldn't sell the cars. I think that was fixed either in the 23 session or 24 J Collins. We were able to get that part fixed. We did take care of that, and so we'll move on. I think number 18, Representative McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I can assure you it won't take me long. I just want to say thank you very much for the bill too. My only concern is the weekends. I saw the this Monday through Friday. I'm just trying to make sure that my neighbor was the one who got a bill on Sunday.
During the actual school hours for instructional benefit, not special events, not ball games and such like that.
I just wanted to make, because she got one on a Sunday, and that really just took her back. But thank you very much. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we got to take one more. Number 12, Representative Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. As I'm reading this, I'm getting the impression that these 5 companies that put these cameras in are going to have to accept these conditions for the state of Georgia in order to do business.
This is a law. If this passes, this will be the law.
Okay, so it's going to supersede what we voted on before. I appreciate the concern and the safety of the children. I just didn't know if we were addressing that, and how do you, well, I guess you would mandate it if it's law, but does that reduce the opportunity to hire one of those companies for these cameras? Because that's where I see the oversight need to be.
Does it reduce what?
I'm concerned that it reduces the opportunity to get the cameras if the companies are not willing to abide by these rules, the new law. For example,
Let me address what you've just said. I think a lot of the companies have been demonized in this,
Here.
but these companies are providing a product, a service. The gist of this is your local law enforcement.
I understand
Part of this
that.
is that when these cameras, when they catch someone that is speeding, the local police department with a certified officer is supposed to review that video before there's a citation sent out. Quite frankly, I don't know how much of that is really done. I'm sure
Right.
that most of our law enforcement agencies are doing that.
Right.
But you know, when you get a car that's on a rollback and that tag gets caught, well, did that officer not see that? So that's the reason I think it's more important that people to exercise their due process. And if they don't think, or for whatever the purpose is, they need to speak up and they need to contest it.
Understand that.
Just don't accept a fine.
From past testimony, if I may.
Yeah,
From
this
past
is
testimony, we
real
were under the
quick.
impression that these companies are getting the bulk of the money, and in your bill, you're designating where funds should be allocated.
No,
And
ma'am, that's not correct. The companies don't get the bulk of the money.
Okay, that was just
Under
what
the current under the current operation today, those companies are paid how they're paid. But the most that I have been able to find out was that the companies were getting 30 or so %, but the cities and the counties were getting like 70% of the money.
Okay. So thank you for that clarity, because
Yes.
I don't think I heard that. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, real quick, we have a couple people signed up. If they can just say who they're with and if they're for it, and just about 30 seconds if you can, real quick. All right, Robert.
Robert Acock.
Acock.
Professional Association of Tourism Educators. Not to take up my time on Friday, just want to say thank you for bringing this bill, and thank you for the support of putting funding for school safety. Very big priority.
All right, and then we have Ray Califani. If he just real brief, like I said, we've got 5 minutes. People's got to get to rules, and they've got to have time to get over there.
Yes, I'm Ray. I'm Ray Califani, Georgia Budget and Policy Institute. I'll say that GBPI is in agreement with the intent of this bill, and we're in agreement with what we think everybody in this room seeks, which is to improve child and pedestrian safety. However, we believe this bill doesn't include the language that could fully get us there. So what I mean by that is that we've had a lot of conversations about ultimately two things: either improving, regulations that can still allow for mass expansion, or completely getting rid of them altogether. But we have not had any meaningful conversation about what we ultimately should be getting to, and that's improving safer road design, street design. We believe that the revenue that goes here should go towards that, which can ultimately address the issue of the safety issue that we have, while making sure that all the parties that can have incentives to just get revenue from this don't have something that can just last forever.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, number 24.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a motion to pass.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Like amendment, offer an amendment, if the chair. I'll hold my amendment.
I'm not going to accept any amendments at this time. If we need to work on it, once we move it out of here, we can. But anyway, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
In regard to Chairman Ridley's motion, remember this bill's going to the Senate. There'll be ample opportunity over there. They've heard Senator Burns's bill over there, which is quite different. Similar some, but mostly not quite like this bill. There's a strong possibility you'll have a second bill to ban. But either way, when they go to the Senate, I don't think there's an appetite in the Senate to do a ban, but that's just knowledge from what I understand. Over that last year when Representative Collins carried the bill, they shut it down.
Right.
So this would give an option to clean up this system.
All right. Well, thank you. We're going to hand vote. All in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's 6. All opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Bill carries.
Really.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right. Sorry for the haste, but they do have to get to rules. They got bills they've got to present. All right. The next bill we're going to hear this morning, House Bill 369.
Thank you, Chairman and members. We're going to be very brief. We're coming through LC 399001. After talking to the chairman and some of the members about the concerns of the operators being able to purchase this equipment, if you go down, what we're going to do is go down to line 15.
What was that LC number again? I'm sorry.
LC 399001.
Okay, that's what we have.
Okay, what we want to do is, keeping in mind on about the cost, we're going to strike lines 15, 16, 17, and 18. And I think that by doing this, we'll address the issue of the cost, but also be able to get the intent of the bill as far as the safety for the children and the drivers. So that's basically the change. And I think that addresses the concerns about the cost for the ice cream truck operators.
And this is just ice cream trucks only, or
Yeah,
food trucks to be parked in a parking lot most of the time wouldn't
right
be subject to this.
Right. Only the ones, ice cream truck or food truck or the mixture of both, that their main area is neighborhoods. The ones that you see go in neighborhoods, but the others, they don't have. This doesn't pertain to them at all.
All right. Number two, Chairman Prince.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to that point, how do we distinguish not other than, because I'm reading here, any vehicle that sells food or beverages, how do we distinguish, I mean, neighborhoods or where does that?
Right here, line 12,
Yeah.
It says, any motor vehicle used for the mobile sale of food or beverages, which is primarily conducts such sales during stops upon a roadway, shall be equipped with the following. So it's the ones that they primarily do that. So if you have the food trucks that just do festivals and never go into the neighborhoods, this wouldn't pertain to them. Just the ones you mainly see in the neighborhoods.
Number 12, Representative Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, now I'm I still see and. So you're still asking that you're mandating that all three of these be included: the flooded, the four hooded or recessed red flasher lights,
No.
the signal arm, and then the sign mounted on. It says "and" on line 21.
Okay, if we have to change that, but we strike in lines 15. So if we strike 15, strike 16, strike 17, and strike 18, so it takes that completely out.
That's not what we're seeing.
They're not struck
Right,
on our.
they're underlined.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Requesting an amendment to do that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because I was like, that's not what we
Right.
decided.
What you're looking at, right? Yeah, but the amendment to strike those lines.
All right, we'll,
So, Mr. Chairman,
we'll need somebody to offer that amendment.
Yes.
so okay.
If get generous. All right, do we have, all right, Representative Prince?
Yes, at the time I'd like to offer an amendment once the bill's been voted on.
Okay, what's that amendment?
We want to strike lines 15 through lines 18. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And 19 and 20 through 21.
Say it again.
The numbers, or else you're going to have 2 and 3 without a 1.
Right.
All right, what she said.
What did you say? What
did you say?
Renumbering on lines 19 and 22, renumbering 2 and 3 as 1 and 2.
2 and 3 is 1 and 2.
That'll be automatic. That should be automatic.
Do it. We are striking lines 15, 16, 17, and 18.
18. And then they'll
And
be
then
automatically
renumbering
renumbered.
on line 19, that's now number 1. And then on line 22, renumbering 3 to 2. It's what is being done. We have a motion for that amendment. Do we have a second? Second. Well, we have a motion and a second for the amendment. Do we have a motion on the bill?
So moved.
Who's that? Second. We have a motion and a second on the bill. Any further discussion? All right. Do all in favor of the bill, as amended? All say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right. You have your bill as amended.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, committee.
All right.
You need me here.
No, we're good. We're good. All right, House Bill 494. All right, you can do it there or down there if you.
Do it down here. I can at least look at y'all and see how you vote.
And we do have a handout. Everybody has.
Y'all have a handout? I'm ready to go. You have a handout? Everybody has a handout? Okay, please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. 494 is a liability to try to get insurance for mopeds. This started about 6 years ago. And what happened was
He's not leaving.
Got it?
Not.
He's not leaving. I want to make sure I got enough folks to vote. But it started about 6 years ago. My intern was at a stoplight, and while he was there, he just got rammed in the back. And when the police came, they let him know that he didn't have mopeds didn't have to have insurance. And I say all of that to say that his parents and him had to come up with the money to fix the vehicle. So 6 years ago, I dropped this moped. And what I passed out to you all was there are 25 plus states that have moped insurance. I mean, you're talking about states like Alabama, California, Illinois, Mississippi, New York, Texas, Washington, Utah. I mean, I gave you up there 25, and I know there are some concerns about this with the Department of Revenue, but what I did say was if these other Department of Revenues could do this, our Department of Revenue should be able to do this as well. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to take any questions, but I did make sure that everybody had a copy of the 25 states that do have moped insurance.
Number 12, Representative Taylor.
Just a quick question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you have any estimates of what this insurance may cost? I know it's going to be based on the driving record and the age and all that, but can you give us just a predictive amount of the average cost to get insurance on a moped?
Well, every state is different. So, in Georgia, but I guess you want to know about Georgia. It would be less than a motorcycle. But
okay.
When I had a motorcycle, it was roughly about $55 a month that I was paying for the motorcycle.
Okay, thank you.
But I couldn't, and that's something we could ask. I know that golf carts do not have them, and I know that that's one of the things we need to make sure that we look at too, instead of kicking it down the road.
And we've had this in committee before. Did we?
Mr. Chairman, we had this in committee. We talked about it. Didn't vote on it, but I do think it's time for us to at least, make an effort to look at what we can do to help our citizens as well.
I agree. If they're going to be on the roadway and they hit somebody, they need to be able to have insurance. I think it's a good bill. Number 2, Chairman Prince.
At proper time, I'd like to make a motion.
All right, we have a motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, you have your bill. All right. All right, now we have 583, and I think we've got the correct sub on the front of you now. I've not had the chance to. All right, and I think we're working off of LC 394705S. Is that
Yes.
what everybody has? All right, Mr. You tell us the bill and what we're doing here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I do have LC 394705S, and you've heard this bill. This is a bill reference to veterans and disabled veterans in particular, and getting a second tag that they can use for their spouse or their minor child who's driving. And so the changes are only that we added and focused on disabled veterans. That causes us to have capture the target group, and we did not need a fiscal note for this. So the only difference is that our veterans already get one tag, and we're asking for a second tag for those who are disabled.
And it's totally disabled, that'd be the 100%.
Well, this is they can be permanently and totally or disabled.
Okay. All right, number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Prince.
Thank you. Totally disabled. What is totally disabled? How is that defined?
That is defined by the VA and their doctors, and they will have a letter to that effect to say that they are permanently and 100% disabled.
Yeah.
And then there are all levels of disability, and so we included permanently and disabled.
Yeah, I know my
So
dad
those
was.
less than 100%
Yes.
do not qualify for this.
They will.
Those who are less than 100% will not.
Yes, sir. So if you look on line 65 through 69, it will, 92, and it'll tell you that once the disabled veterans establish their eligibility and their disability has been determined to be permanently disabled or
What line are you on?
so you have 39470 5S.
47.
Yeah, that should have been the last one that Shannon handed out.
I'm just trying to figure out which lines are you reading from?
Okay, so start at 64. And that's the totally disabled.
But
And
it's
then
not-
you go down,
Does not qualify as totally disabled.
right. So we included those who are disabled at any point. So this is the code and the way we fixed it. So you could, I think legal can help us out, but this is the way that we put it in there. So that include all disabled veterans.
So all disabled veterans.
Yes.
So why
But
do
the
we?
language that was put in started with totally and permanently. I'm not, in that business, but if we want to ask legal to weigh in on that.
Yeah, can we get?
Yeah, there's two code sections dealing with this. There's one that's totally, so those individuals don't have to go back every year to prove it, and they have a letter from the VA. So that is in code section 69, so that's in section 1. Section 2 is not, they don't qualify as 100% disabled, but they're disabled. So they have to go back every year and provide a letter saying that they're disabled. But so we're doing an additional free tag for both types of disabled veterans.
Is that from the VA? The letter from the VA, not a doctor?
Yes, and I think there's an option in the current code about if you can request the VA if you're not permanently disabled, totally disabled, you can get the VA so you can request a doctor to send something to the VA and then they send it to revenue. That's current law.
Does totally not just confuse? Well, it's confusing me. I think I'm the only one. Can we just say disabled veterans? Would that not be?
Well, the totally is tied to TAVT
Understand.
and the qualification is 100% totally disabled. So that's one code section. A second code section
Okay,
is
it's two sections.
disabled, so it might not be permanent, right?
Two sections.
You have to come back every year to
Okay.
show that you're still disabled to qualify for the free one. But obviously, permanently is not going to change.
All right.
All right,
Well,
number
thank
20,
you for that question.
23.
Needed
Chairman-
clarifying.
Chairman Wiedauer.
Thank you, Representative. Two questions. One, I think it just got touched on. This is not changing the TAVT exemption for any way. This is just allowing for a second plate, not a second vehicle, to be exempt from TAVT.
That is correct, just a second plate.
And if I may have,
That was you had that bill a couple of years ago, if I remember.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that.
And then with including disabled across the board, do we have a number on that? I know I see somebody from the Department of Revenue. I know you said there wasn't a fiscal note. Do we know ballpark how many disabled plates are issued currently and what that would potentially look like if they were doubled?
I do not have that number, but Chairman, did you want to speak to that? I know we looked at the other number and it was exorbitant, so we went back and just focused on the disabled veterans.
Yeah,
They said that we did not need a fiscal note on that one.
all veterans is going to be almost 400,000 plates. I think this lowers it to a number somewhere a little over 100, 107 maybe.
And they're still paying for the plate. Okay. Yep. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Number 12.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to pass at the proper time.
All right. Do we have any further questions? Not seeing any. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. You have
Thank
your
you.
bill, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.